So welcome everyone. Again, thank you so much for joining members of the Serenity House of Flint for this virtual fundraiser. It means a lot to all of us because this organization has impacted us on some level, whether really great or, just kind of inspired and inspired in a way that we feel the hope, because there's a lot of hope and healing, and that's what we try to deliver here at the Serenity House of Flint. So the program for tonight, we will have a few board members talking about why Serenity House is important to them and how they've utilized some of the services in their own lives. We will begin with Erwin Mccone, who is the board treasurer of the Serenity House of Flint. Erwin is an amazing gentleman, and he came at a time to the organization when we really needed his expertise in terms of board development and strategic planning. He has a wealth of knowledge when it comes to nonprofit work, and he is also walking a healing and spiritual path, which is pretty amazing. So Erwin is going to go ahead and talk about his experience and what Serenity House means to him.
Thank you, Tara. Those are very, very kind words. I think the biggest thing that really people will find, hopefully today through the Serenity House, is that it is 90% of the population that could really benefit from the services that are provided. And when we talk about addiction, we tend to have a certain stigma of, oh, those people are addicted or these people are addicted. And it's not. Like, we're in the age of consumerism. And so we get addicted to all kinds of things that we just kind of play off as normal. You know, our phones, our video games, our shopping, and these things I've learned through this wonderful organization are ways that we distract ourselves from being who we're truly meant to be and living in the loving space that our either our Great Spirit or Muhammad or Christ or God or whatever you choose to live in, that really one truth of love and the Word and God incarnate here on earth. That's what you're meant to be. And I'm really, really grateful that I've been exposed to the Serenity House, and I'm super, super grateful that I'm able to play a part in serving our community through the Serenity House of Flint. And I'm really excited that we're here and we're going to introduce the Serenity House of Flint to hopefully more people in our community.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for sharing your experience, because addiction is, we tend to look at addiction like it's just, the harder, drugs. And we have an opioid crisis. We have a very serious problem with overdose right now. But the thing about addiction is that the root of addiction, the root of codependency, which is kind of a form of addiction, it's more of an addiction to people, or the unhealthy relationship to people, is that, this all stems from a lack of really this foundation of self-peace, self-love within us. And to be able to find that and mining through our traumas, mining through, the things that keep us stuck. And I think it's safe to say that this world that we are all living in, that we come in and we don't leave this world, not one person, unscathed in some way, right? There's something, right? Even, I often talk about like birth. The birthing process could be very traumatic for certain individuals, especially with the rate of C-section that we have now, right? So when I founded Serenity House of Flint in 2015, it came from a calling of my own healing. So I'm a person in long-term recovery. I've been working on myself actively since 2007. I spent one stint in rehab. That's all it took for me, by the grace of God. you know, we're in a time right now where people are in rehab 13, 14, 15 times and still don't get it. So by the grace of God, I was able to get it. And when I got it, you know, I started to really ask myself these deep questions. What is my purpose here? What am I here to do? And how do I do it? And it all came down to service, because serving your fellow man is the highest form of God or Allah or whatever you call your source or your pathway. It's the highest calling, because God is within us. It's within each and every one of us. And the goal is to get back to that truth. And how do we get back to that truth? And it's the unraveling of the things that we think that we are and that we're not, right? The anxieties, the, you know, these thoughts that can plague us, and, you know, all of these things. So one of the things that is probably the most important thing when it comes to the Serenity House of Flint and its mission statement, which is to advocate for people in recovery. Advocacy is at the heart of what we do. Why? Because we need to speak our truth about who we are. If we keep things in the shadows, if we hide who we are, we're hiding that piece of ourselves that had to go through that experience to be able to grow, which is God, right? That growth, right? So advocacy and this stigma. So we have this stigma around recovery or asking for help when it comes to even mental health. And it's so absurd that we've created this stigma around asking for help. We are a social species. We need each other, right? We're not superhuman. We're not transhuman. We're not machines. We are organic human beings with heartbeats and blood and sinews and all of these things that make us human. And how do we get back to that? It's through the heart, and it's through caring for each other, and it's through speaking our truth to each other and still loving each other, even though our perceptions may be different. So the advocacy is an important piece of Serenity House of Flint. The second piece of it is the holistic recovery supports. People will go to treatment, and they'll go to treatment, like I said earlier, 12, 13, 14, 15 times. The reason, one of the reasons why, is because to build your life after recovery, it takes recovery support. You have to be able to understand how to live your life in a different way than what you were living it before, right? So that's a regular practice of what we offer, like the meditation. I'm doing a yoga practice, a plethora of things that we offer, you know, sound healing through drumming, you know, the Reiki, so energy, looking at, you know, energy and what is that, being energetic beings, you know, all of these things that we provide. And that's really at the heart of what we do, is providing, speaking our truth and healing in a way where we can walk a different path that's better for ourselves and better for our community. So with that said, I would like to introduce this amazing panel, because these people that are about to speak are very near and very, very dear to my heart. And they've been walking this path with me, some a little longer than others. And I am truly grateful for these women. They are amazing women, and they have some really great stories to tell. So the first story, the first testimonial is Angela Benneke. So Angela is she's a mother, and she's in recovery, and she is also a recovery Reiki 2 level practitioner. And she is really, really, really excited about her spiritual path and what it means to her, and her healing path just in general. So I'm going to hand it over to you, Angela, and you can talk about your recovery journey and how Serenity House has helped you.
Thank you, Tara. That was very nice of you. I am Angela Benneke. I get nervous when I'm speaking, so just let y'all know now. I'm in long-term recovery, and what that means to me is I have been sober since December 6, 2011. I never went to detox or rehab. I just decided I was done, and I started going to 12-step meetings. And I had to do these for me. They weren't just like suggestions, they were a must for me. Everything they suggest, I had to do because I wanted to stay in recovery. And it's not easy, especially when you have no tools, you don't know what you're doing. So my I had gotten a sponsor right away, and she made me call her for 30 days, and before she would even start doing the steps with me. Well, I called her for 2 years every day because that was something I got used to, and it was very important to me. I met my best friend in recovery, and we were called the 12-Step and Sisters because if somebody didn't come to a meeting, we were going to their house and dragging them to a meeting. I had a grandma sponsor. She was my sponsor, and she died. She was in her 80s, I believe, and she died sober. And she was a very big part of my recovery. That was really hard. And I found out right away in recovery that you still have to watch how you pick friends. Because some friends really aren't friends. They're just there to bring their negativity into your life. And you have to walk away, and that's okay. So I got my recovery coach training through NIMSAS up in Gaylord, Michigan. And I now have over 250 CEUs in recovery training that I'm very proud of. Many certificates. I want everything recovery, just like I wanted everything when I was using. Recovery is my addiction today. So I started as a recovery coach. I was volunteering starting in 2014. And then I got a job. The first job I had was with Pine Rest Christian Mental Health Services out of Traverse City. And I thought, how can I get a job doing, what I do in recovery? And so I loved it. I had an awesome boss, and we just paved the way. It was a new thing that everybody was doing, and we had telehealth to go with it, where people also got counseling through their phones or computers or whatever, so that they didn't have to go to the building. In August of 2019, we found out that we weren't getting the grant that year. So I applied for and got interviewed for Families Against Narcotics out of Clinton Township. And at that time, so I started living between Manistee, Michigan, and Genesee County, Flint area, because they didn't have anybody here to do that. And it's very important to me to help women. because I know where I was in my recovery. And sometimes you don't know what to do. And just that extra support really does help a lot of people. I've seen that. And to watch them blossom and just grow, and, no matter what, being there for them has been very interesting.
So how did Serenity House play a part in your life, in your recovery?
So Melanie actually introduced me to Serenity House, and the first time I was there, I was just amazed, and I wanted more of it. And so then I started doing Reiki sessions with Serena, getting my own Reiki sessions, because I wanted to do Reiki, but I knew I needed to heal trauma within myself before I could help somebody else. And so it's been just amazing. Like, every time I have a session, I just feel so much better. Like, I can't even explain it. The spirituality of it all is huge for me. And I met Tara and so many other women that are just, they're great. And they just really want to empower women, help us empower women. So yes, I took Reiki 1 and Reiki 2. And I'm so excited about taking this to Northern Michigan and all around, because I'm working everywhere, which I love that too. So I know I spoke longer than I'm supposed to, but thank you everybody for being a part of this, because it's very important.
Thank you so much for sharing your experience. You're so brave. So Melanie introduced you to the organization, and Melanie is such an amazing light too. And Melanie is actually a support staff at Meridian Health Services. She's also attuned to Recovery Reiki 1 and 2. And she is all about reading, writing, walking trails, and working out. So Melanie, tell us about your experience and with Serenity House and recovery in general.
We need to unmute Melanie. Melanie, you're muted.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. So my name is Molly, and I would like to share a little bit of my story just so people can kind of see where I've came from and where I'm at now in life since I began working with Serenity House. So growing up, like, I always had these feelings of alienation and like extreme insecurity. And that led to really, really bad codependency and a 20-year-long heroin addiction. Around the age of 14, I started smoking pot and drinking and getting involved with, like, guys that were like the troublemakers and all of that stuff. And around that time, I had a couple like traumatic life-changing events, and I ended up being diagnosed with PTSD, anxiety, depression, stuff like that. And because of all of my undealt with trauma and feelings of rejection, that led to a 20-year-long heroin addiction. I am extremely blessed to have even made it out after being addicted for that long. Most people do not survive 20 years of heroin addiction. So I tried to get clean several times through rehabs, churches, AA, NA, psychiatrists, and that stuff was great, but it wasn't quite enough. I wasn't able to find ways to release my trauma. I wasn't able to find ways to start believing in myself or gain any type of like security within myself. So I kept going back. So, like my last relapse, it was so bad. And, that was the time where I'm like, you know what, I really have to find something totally different and new, and I need to find a way to make this work, or I'm just going to continue on this very, very dark path until I die, or I'm going to get clean and stay clean and live. So it just so happened that one of my friends introduced me to Serena Gunn, and I started getting Reiki sessions from her. And that was like my big game changer. That was exactly what I had been missing all those years. I also began to attend a holistic healing hour at Serenity House. And that was very awesome. It was really awesome to meet a group of people that have been so supportive. They've taught me things about like self-care, shadow work, and what it means to actually be a part of a community. So I no longer suffer with those feelings of like alienation and feeling rejected or any of that. So I've had a lot of big changes in my life. I found a lot of healthy coping mechanisms for when I'm stressed. I'm now off of all of my psych meds and have been for quite some time now. I've learned how to question and work through my fears and emotional triggers. I've gained more confidence, love, and acceptance for myself. I no longer date men that are no good for me. I live a much healthier lifestyle. As Tara said, I got attuned to Reiki 1 and 2, and I also got a job in recovery, which I am super, super passionate about. Because like Angie said, like I know what it's like when you're very first starting off, and there's nothing like having somebody support you that's been through exactly what you've been through. Some other things that I have got to do is I've boosted my credit score quite a bit, like a huge amount. And I've experienced joy and peace like more than I ever have in my whole life. It's been an amazing experience, and I'm super happy and blessed to be a part of Serenity House.
You are so amazing. Thank you for sharing. I just want to say that having you a part of this organization has been a light, and I can't wait to show the video that we're gonna that we're gonna show to highlight kind of more of your path. So next up we have Allison. So Allison's our board secretary. Allison is, I can only explain it in that we have some sort of soul connection that extends beyond this world, and both she and I felt that when we met. Allison has been brave too, incredible. She's in long-term recovery. She's a mother of many. She's also attuned to recovery Reiki 1 and 2. She's a registered nurse, and she's amazing. So Allison.
Hi, everybody. My name is Allison. I am a person in long-term recovery. Now that I know myself better, I can see that my addiction patterns started well before my teenage years. When I first started becoming aware of myself, it wasn't until after I had met Tara and been involved in Serenity House. I have 4 years of sobriety in October, so not quite there yet. And I met Tara and was introduced to Serenity shortly after a year. I have been working in recovery for over 6 years. As a registered nurse, unfortunately, I had access to opioids, and bad patterns and behaviors and an inability to deal with deep-rooted emotional problems drew me to that. And that took me down a long, bad, winding road. I ended up in the health professional recovery program, I worked through that for 2.5 years, 6 months shy of graduation. And I returned to my own patterns because despite trying to work principles, I still didn't address what was really, really deep and deep rooted and wrong in my soul. After coming into Serenity House and searching, getting to know myself and getting to the root of that trauma, I saw where these patterns of insecurity and fear and pain had started from when I was a young child, and how they had manifested throughout my life and caused problems in relationships, which essentially really made me feel like my only way out was substance and alcohol, and that just did not take me to good places. I remember my first experience with Reiki, and it wasn't even with Serenity House. It was when I had first gotten into recovery in 2015. I had horrible, painful scars on the tops of my hands from my behaviors. And I had met a person in HPRP, and they did Reiki, and I was willing for anything at that point. And I have not had pain in those hands since then. And so when I became involved through happenstance, through a friend of a friend, with Serenity, it felt right from that moment. And then going to these holistic healing hours and letting myself heal, letting people, these wonderful souls who understood, who embraced me, gave me the courage to learn my truth and be open with my truth, and now spread my truth to others. I've been blessed to be able to be attuned, to be able to learn about myself and how to help others. I have been, luckily, because of my path and where I'm at, I am able to reach further and help further in our community, in our court system. And having those doors and having the knowledge that I have from Serenity, as well as my other recovery, just inspires me to tell my truth so I can help people learn their truth and help them heal from the trauma that it goes so far back and threatens everything, their sobriety and every day that it's gone unchecked. So my hope with Serenity is to reach out and teach people and have them be involved and learn the softer, more connected, deep-rooted way of life that is there that I didn't know about before. And it's been life-changing, and I'll be forever grateful. So it is a pleasure to be involved and be around everybody and help out.
Thank you so much, Allison, for sharing. I just want you to know that I love you very much, and I am so proud to be walking this path with you. So Tave. So Tave has been with the Serenity House, I think, over 2 years? Has it been over 2 years now? I think so. Yeah. Yeah, she came to the organization through the United Way as our AmeriVista Corps member, and her growth was stunning to watch. Leaps and bounds and just really amazing things she's been doing in her life and in the community. Tave is actively working in our programming. She facilitates our corrections program with the county, where we serve people with felonies and misdemeanors, and our holistic healing hour, where we provide our recovery Reiki groups and our talking circles. Tave, I want to hear from you.
Awesome. Thank you guys for having me. I'm super blessed to be here, being a part of this fundraiser, this organization, just this whole journey that we're all on together. So I'm also a person in long-term recovery. I have almost 4 years from intravenous heroin use. Really, I was addicted to everything though. My story is a little bit different in that I grew up with a supporting family and a lot of love, and I didn't really lack for anything. So as I started to go down deep into my addiction, I couldn't figure out what it was. I couldn't figure out why. It was denial. It was, everything. And it went from 0 to 100 real quick. And it led me to incarceration, which then sent me to rehab. And so I'm kind of going through my story a little bit fast because what I really want to touch on recovery after the addiction is really going to resonate with a lot of people that are kind of in the same situation that I am. So my addiction really came from my issues of self-worth, my low, and constantly getting into bad relationships, having unhealthy relationships with family members, and thinking that what was okay with me was okay, even though it really wasn't. So after my incarceration, I got sent to a treatment facility, and I did 16 months in total, and it helped me tremendously. But as I left that program, even though I was completely abstinent from all drugs and alcohol, I was still making decisions that were like addicted behavior, and which I bring back to my codependency, which has been the hardest thing for me to overcome. And I will even go as far as to say as it's even harder to overcome than my addiction to drugs and alcohol, because it's my root, it's the root. And so with Serenity House, so when I first came to Serenity House, I was told about the Serenity House through one of the directors of the treatment facility I was at. And I was like, this is what I want to do, but I don't think there's anything around here. I want to do like meditation, and I want to be spiritual, and, and I didn't even know what that meant. It just came to me, and that's what I wanted to do. And she told me about it. And so I reached out to Tara, and I found out about the opportunity through United Way, AmeriCorps. And I applied, and I got the position, and I came here. I met Tara, and I remember we stood over the spring at Stockton Center, and I looked out over the water, and I'm standing next to this like majestic, amazing leader, and I just like start crying. So I'm like, okay, this woman has me in my feelings. I don't even know her. This is the right path, because I know for my healing path, I have to be uncomfortable to heal. And Serenity House did that for me, but in a very safe place. No judgment, a lot of support. And even when I made decisions that weren't so perfect, I still had people supporting me, because I am human and I will make mistakes, and I will have those thoughts and those feelings. But now I'm just starting to make better decisions because I'm fully aware. So my spirituality isn't like, I'm sitting around a cauldron, like trying to make, spells and stuff, because that's what some people think it is. What it is it's becoming totally aware of myself and the things that lead me. It's understanding my feelings and my thoughts and my triggers, and being okay with it, and meeting myself where I'm at, and staying in the present. And so as I practice these holistic modalities, I'm becoming an expert of myself, and I still have a long way to go, but I'm getting it, and my life is beautiful. And I wouldn't have been able to do that without Serenity House, because nothing else worked for me. Nothing else resonated, you know, because the holistic modalities, I get to make it up for myself. Like, there isn't, you do this, 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 and this, and you're healed. It's, no, you need to figure out what works for you. You customize it to yourself, and you hold yourself accountable, and have, you practice your self-care, and you do this thing, and it worked. And so as I continue to grow as a person, as I get older, and I become that person that I was always meant to be, I will continue to use the holistic modalities and stay with Serenity House, because it's my place, it's my community, and I'm safe and I'm loved, and I'm proud of myself, and I'm proud of everybody on this call, and everybody that I show these holistic modalities to, everybody who comes to the holistic healing hours or the corrections program. They have profound experiences. It's all very real. And so that's why we need to get the word out there and really continue to touch lives, because we're just making the world a better place with everything going on, and we're loving ourselves doing it. And that's the best thing that we can ask for. So
watching you become a woman has been one of the greatest things I think I've experienced through the organization. When you became a mother to Journey, it was like to watch that transformation happen, and that catalyst, that mother, it's so incredible, Tave. I just want to say that you're amazing, and I'm glad that I got to hear you speak tonight.
Thank you.
Yeah, so what we're going to do is I'm going to show the video of our services and what we've done over the past year. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to share my screen, and we're going to play this really great video that was created by Chris Wesley. And Chris is an amazing, amazing person. His wife, Kristen, is a yoga instructor who has been working with Serenity House on and off for our various services. So it's about a 4-minute video. We'll go ahead and we'll share it and take a look at a little bit of our work and what we've done.
In a family dynamic that was not healthy.
I lost my boyfriend to the system, and it was like the first love of my life. And right around that time is when I found heroin. I was 19 years old, and I ended up doing heroin on and off for 20 years.
I mean, Western medicine for me, it was like I did a lot of talk therapy, and nothing seemed to work.
I've been to several other different types of rehabilitation type programs, such as AA, rehabs, churches, psychiatrists, all that stuff. And that stuff was helpful, but it wasn't helpful enough for me to maintain sobriety.
I think people are so used to grasping outside of themselves for any kind of gratification, which is what addiction is, right? It's looking for a substance to numb something, or to forget about something, or to deal with something. The reason why we have the darkness or these really dark experiences is just for a contrast. Because when we have that comparison where you can say, oh, I've felt that way before, and I know that I don't want to feel this way. So what are the steps that I can do so that I don't feel that way?
I found a lot of release from my trauma and a lot of compassion for the people that have done me wrong in my life.
We need to be able to take care of ourselves in a way where those that we touch can feel it.
you know, for a long time, I believed that I was just like mentally ill and unable to like function normally in society, and they showed me that, you know, that wasn't correct at all.
I was able to get off medication permanently. My life just really took off. Serenity House is in a place where we have a very strong board, where we are strengthening our current infrastructure, and that we are integrating self-care into our organization.
I have seen some amazing things come from this organization in such a little time, and it honestly just has to do because action has proven itself, and individuals not dying and having souls that are being healed is enough evidence. And I look forward to continuing to see the growth of Serenity House of Flint.
So if you are a light in the community, take care of yourself. Your self-care is not selfish. It is so necessary. To reach Serenity House, you can visit our website at www.flintserenityhouse.org or shoot us an email at info@flintserenityhouse.org, or you can call us at 810-336-1018.
So that is our video. That is what was created out of our programs and those who attend Serenity House of Flint programming. So
hi, I'm Serena, and I'm gonna walk you through a 30.
Okay, so that is what I would like to get into now is a question and answer. So I think it's really important that we kind of get to know each other on a level of to get to know each other and our personalities and kind of how we function. So I have some questions for the panel. All right. So I want each of you to take the time to answer the questions, and we'll kind of go like round robin style. So the first question that I have for the panel is, if you could be a fictional character, who would you be?
Well, I'll start. I guess somebody's got to start. I think I've been them all, and that's what the beauty of this journey is. And I think sometimes the panel talks about holistic healing, and I think we take for granted that people know what that is, right? But they don't, because it's body, mind, and spirit. And since Aristotle, since we've moved into these different ages, we've been so in the mind that we associate ourselves 100% with our mind. And we think that we can think our ways into new ways of living. And what the holistic healing hours and what holistic healing is all about is taking your body, mind, and spirit and integrating those things into one, so that you are more of your essence. You're getting to know myself. As I listen to people talk, getting to know myself is I get to know the false narratives that I've told myself my whole life that I wasn't even given. I've been given those things to me and been made to think them my whole life. And when you get back to your essence, that's, to me, that's drawing back. So I've been every fictional character known to man.
All the archetypes, huh? Yes. Thank you.
I'll
I'll
piggyback.
go. Oh, never mind. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead, Allison. I'll wait.
Well, I was gonna say mine's not like as in depth as Erwin and like thought provoking. Mine's simple and someone that I've always admired since I was a teenager, and it's gonna be funny, but it's Scarlett O'Hara, because she did what she needed to do and she didn't care what people thought. And I know myself, I was so encumbered by caring about what other people thought of me that it really shaped the bad part of me, and she didn't need to. And so I want to be more like that, without like the selfishness aspect, but more about the powerful woman that's there. And I want to be that and help others and teach my kids and take care of others. So that's mine.
I love it. Tabe.
Okay, so a fictional character that just like keeps popping back to my mind, that again is not as in depth, but I kind of had something to say about what Erwin was saying too. But Wonder Woman has always been a fictional character that I would absolutely love to be, because she is a woman from Amazon. She's an Amazon, and she is a woman, and she is proud of it. And she comes, from such a powerful race of women, and she has great morals, and she's beautiful, and she's strong, and she's so sure of herself. And so I've always looked up to her. But kind of piggybacking off of what Erwin was saying, it reminded me of the masks that we wear every day, and always bringing ourselves back to who we truly are inside. So every single day I have to put a mask on, whether it be an employee or a mother or a friend or whatever, or put that hat on, if you don't want to call it a mask, but then return to Tabe as I lay my head down and return to my true self. So I am living fictional characters every day that are a part of my reality, so yeah, Wonder Woman.
I love it. I can totally see you with the whole right, the band. I used to love
And if I may, Tavi, I think there's a lot of people that don't make the connections to, for whatever reason, are because our organized. That's what I grew up Roman Catholic, and that's what actually we're called to do. Every evening we lay down, we do an examination of conscience. And somewhere along the way, we've gotten away from that. It's when we went into the mind, right? That this is me. And so what everyone is talking about is exactly what is taught in my religion of Christianity or Catholicism as the Gospels. But just kind of.
Well, and that's the beauty in it, is I believe in God. I was raised Catholic, but I practice a spiritual path. And some people would say they clash, or it's like oil against water. And it's not, it's fully having that relationship with God, however you see him or her, and just becoming like totally self-aware. And it's pretty funny, or it's cool really, how they mesh together, how you know, I say meditation and somebody else says prayer. You know, they're like doing the same thing, just with different names. So.
And that really stems from a lot of the Franciscan nature. And I don't want to get off topic, but that's the Franciscan influence of the Catholic Church that lost out because, well, they weren't as educated as the Dominicans. But we'll talk about that some.
Yeah, history is interesting when it comes to religion and spirituality, wouldn't you say? Yes, it's turned into more of a control thing than it is a self-discovery thing, unfortunately. So, Melanie.
Well, strangely enough, I actually don't watch TV or movies, and I know pretty much nothing about fictional characters. I know it's kind of weird, right? But I just don't watch TV.
No fictional character, like any kind of like maybe even like, I don't know. Well, I was gonna say angel, but I don't think they're fictional. So yeah, so that's okay though. Sometimes I think the screens, especially these days, have been more of the programming, if you will. Angela.
Agreed.
I've always told my daughter Snow White because no matter what kind of life she had, she always made the birds sing and made happiness no matter where she went. And if something happened to me, I don't want to go on the ground, so she better put me in a glass case. Because I wasn't going nowhere. But to spread happiness and love, and you know, that's huge to me.
Thank you for sharing. So maybe I should answer this question too, since I'm technically on the panel. Let's see. Who would I, you know, the heroes. But the first thing that popped into my head was Superman. And it may sound crazy, but I do love being a woman. I do. But I would like to see what it would be like to have all the brawn and all of the Superman. Like, what would it be like? It would be, yeah. So and plus he was so so I do identify, because there are times when, you know, I put on the makeup and I put on the, you know, the outfit, and I'm like this, like, you know, and then I'm just like in my like glasses and, you know, whatever. I'm like this, like, you know, paper pusher, a girl. So, but yeah, so that's kind of the first thing that popped into my head. So it is 7:55. It is 7:55. So I wanted to open it up to the attendees to see if they had any questions for the panel. If you have any questions, now is the time to put them in the chat box. We do have some comments though, and Stacy Emerson is on, who is part of our fundraising committee, and Allison, loved your comment about Scarlett O'Hara. And I just have to say, Scarlett O'Hara, amazing. I was actually named after that movie, Tara. Yeah, the Tara Plantation. So Stacy also says, you are all amazing. And then Shannon made a comment and she said, thank you, everyone. She said it's been an awakening journey of being part of the Serenity House. So, and then Erwin, your comment, Glenda the Good Witch. There's no place like home. So anyway, I just want to say thank you, everyone, for spending this hour with us. We really, really appreciate it. I dropped the link to the fundraiser in the chat box. It is live. You can access it at our website too. You can donate there through Square or PayPal. Your donations will help us to keep going and providing these really amazing programs and to keep helping our community in these really amazing ways. So again, thank you so much for attending, and this will be recorded. Please share, please share, please share. And yes, thank you. Thank you, panel. Thank you for just being the most supportive community. And I really do feel safe within the community. I feel safe to do this work with you guys. So
Thank you so much, Tara.
Thank you, Tara. Love you.
Thank you, Tara. And thank you
Thanks,
to
Tara.
everyone who joined us tonight.
Shannon, it's good to see you. Thank you for putting this all together and doing all the work that you do. Seriously.
all right, everyone, you guys have a wonderful night. Meditate, pray, and keep taking care of yourselves, please.
Good night.
Night.